She pointed at me in front of everyone, then told the security, "She's ruining my aesthetic. Get this beggar out," and I just stood there, frozen, in my own restaurant. At the wedding, I secretly paid for. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because what happens next will leave you speechless. No one at the wedding knew I was the owner. Not even my sister. She thought I was just one of the waitstaffs, some sad loser who never made anything of herself. All because I disappeared for 4 years after she humiliated me at our father's funeral. I had nothing then. No money. No support. Not even a place to live. She made sure of that. That day I had walked into the wedding just to peek from the back, wearing the same uniform as my team, making sure everything ran smoothly. That's when she saw me. Dressed simple, no makeup, and her face changed like she smelled something rotten. She stopped smiling. She whispered something to her groom, then walked right toward me. "You're not seriously here, are you?" she hissed. She didn't even recognize the logo on the apron, the same logo plastered across every menu. Every invitation, every champagne flute. My logo, my brand. She waved her hand like she was swatting a fly. "This is a luxury wedding, not a soup kitchen, please. Leave." I saw her friends watching, laughing, phones out. She wanted to humiliate me again, but I wasn't the same Rosalie anymore. I hadn't just survived the past 4 years, I had built an empire in silence, and in the next few minutes, she was about to find out exactly who she just insulted. The groom's mother gasped when she realized what was happening. "Is she one of the servers?" she whispered, loud enough for others to hear. My sister smirked. "Worse, she's my sister." The family disappointment. Laughter echoed. A few guests even clapped, thinking it was some kind of joke. But it wasn't. The head chef stepped forward, visibly panicked. "Rosalie, should I say something?" he whispered. I gently shook my head. Not yet. Every cell in my body wanted to scream. But I stayed calm, because I had planned for this. 2 weeks earlier, I got an anonymous event request through our high-end booking system. Luxury wedding, exclusive guest list, all-white aesthetic, $200,000 budget. The name of the bride, Sabrina M. I almost choked when I read it. My own sister unknowingly booked her wedding at my flagship restaurant, through a manager who had no idea we were related, and she even paid up front. That's when the idea came. I wouldn't tell her, I'd just let her walk right into it. Let her treat me like garbage. Let her show her true self. Now, here she was, surrounded by 150 of the city's most powerful socialites, influencers, and executives, calling me a beggar, in a building I bought in cash. She turned to the security guard. "Why is she still here?" I said, "Remove her." The guard hesitated. Then, without a word, he walked away. Her jaw clenched. "Did you not hear me?" I took a deep breath, and walked slowly toward the mic near the stage. The music stopped. Forks paused mid-air. All eyes turned to me, and then, I said it. "Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to properly introduce myself. I'm Rosalie Monroe, owner and founder of Monroe Fine Dining, the very restaurant you're sitting in." Dead silence. One guest literally dropped their fork. Sabrina's lips parted, but no words came out. Her confident glow vanished in seconds. She laughed nervously. "You own this place." "Yes," I said calmly, "and I paid for everything tonight. From the imported orchids on the tables to your 10-layer diamond cake. Even your wedding gown's cleaning service was on my corporate tab." People gasped. The groom stepped forward, his face pale. "Wait, Rosalie. This is your business." I nodded. "Yes, and it's also my building. You're standing in my success story." Sabrina's voice cracked. "Why would you do all this? If you're so rich now, why stay hidden all these years?" I looked her dead in the eye. "Because I wanted to see what kind of person you really are when you think someone has nothing." The entire room went cold. Phones came out. Cameras clicked. Guests were no longer watching a wedding. They were watching a real-life betrayal unfold. One of her bridesmaids leaned in and whispered, "This is going viral." Sabrina's hands trembled. She reached out to grab the mic from me, but I stepped back. No, I said. "You've had your spotlight for years. Humiliating me, mocking me, turning the family against me. But tonight, it's my turn." Then I turned to the crowd. For everyone wondering why she never mentioned having a sister, it's because she told people I was dead, broke, worthless. But now you know the truth. I was just quietly building a multi-million-dollar empire. While she was too busy chasing hashtags and credit card points, you could hear people murmuring. Some clapped. Sabrina stood there, frozen. A bride, now publicly shamed. At the wedding that I made possible, but I wasn't finished yet. Also, I added with a smile, there's a little surprise in your wedding contract you probably didn't read. Sabrina blinked. What? What contract? I pulled out a printed page from my apron pocket, the original signed agreement. The venue terms. Page 6, Section 9.2. It states that if the event host insults or verbally attacks a staff member or the owner, the venue reserves the right to terminate all services immediately with no refund. Her mouth fell open. You're joking, this is a joke, right? I shook my head. No joke. You publicly called me a beggar. You mocked me, tried to have me thrown out of my own restaurant. That clause was added 6 months ago, because I knew one day someone like you would come walking in, all diamonds and pride, forgetting how cruel they've been. Sabrina's groom looked stunned. Wait, we're losing everything. The food, the staff, the music. I smiled politely. Yes, effective immediately. Within seconds, the head chef tapped his team. Plates stopped coming. Servers began clearing. The band quietly packed up their instruments. The lights dimmed. Even the champagne fountains were shut off. Gasps echoed through the hall. Sabrina panicked. Rosalie, please don't do this. Not today. I was just nervous. Weddings are stressful. You know how I get. I turned to her calmly. No, Sabrina. I know how you are when you think someone can't fight back. Behind her, guests were already gathering their things, whispering, some even filming. The perfect socialite wedding, falling apart in real time. She lunged toward me again, her voice rising. You're doing this for revenge. No, I replied. I'm doing this for respect. Something you never gave me. Then I turned to the room. If any of you are still hungry, I said with a shrug, there's a beautiful 5-star restaurant across the street. It's mine too. And unlike this event, everyone is welcome there. And with that, I walked out, leaving my sister screaming in her $7,000 heels, standing in the ruins of her $200,000 wedding. 2 days later, I was in my office, going over the next month's expansion plans when my assistant walked in, looking uneasy. Rosalie, your sister's here. She says it's urgent. I didn't look up. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She's crying. That made me pause. Not because I felt sorry for her, but because Sabrina never cried unless it was for show. Still, I nodded. Send her in. She walked in wearing oversized sunglasses, but I could still see her swollen eyes. Her makeup was a mess, and her designer blouse had a coffee stain. A far cry from the picture-perfect bride she was 48 hours ago. Rosalie, she said softly, voice cracking. I messed up. I know, but please, I need help. I stayed quiet. Let her squirm. She finally sat down across from me, took a deep breath, and said the last thing I expected. James left me. What? I said flatly. He said the way I treated you. The way I acted in front of everyone. He couldn't imagine building a future with someone like that. He canceled the honeymoon, told his family everything. They've cut me off. She broke down, sobbing. I lost my husband, my reputation, everything. I have nothing left. I leaned back in my chair, watching her unravel. For years, I had imagined this moment, dreamed of it, even, but now that it was here, I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt done. I told you once, I said, people show you who they are when they think you have nothing, but now you've lost it all. So maybe now, you're ready to learn. She looked up, desperate. Can you help me get a job? Something. Anything. I'll do whatever it takes. I stared at her for a moment, then slowly opened a drawer, pulling out a small business card. She took it with shaky hands. Her eyes widened when she read the name, Dish Room Supervisor. At one of your other restaurants. I nodded. You want to work? Start from where you made me start. At the very bottom. She looked at the card, then at me, and for the first time in her life, Sabrina said nothing. Because deep down, she knew. This wasn't just a job offer. It was a lesson, and I wasn't doing it to be cruel. I was doing it so she could finally understand the value of everything she had thrown away. A week passed. Sabrina showed up to her first shift in a plain black t-shirt, hair tied back, no designer bag in sight. For the first time, she looked real. She didn't complain. Didn't ask for special treatment. She scrubbed dishes, cleared tables, and stayed after hours to clean the floors. Staff who didn't know our history started saying things like, "She's actually trying," and she was. But something still didn't sit right with me. Late one night, I got a call from my restaurant's accountant. "Rosalie, I think you should see something," he said. He forwarded an old transaction from months before Sabrina booked the wedding, a large payment $50 sent from her personal account to a third-party coordinator. The note attached to the transfer read, "Holding fee for Rosalie's restaurant. She'll never know I used her place." My stomach dropped. So she knew it was my restaurant. She knew the whole time. She wasn't just cruel, she was calculated. She booked the place behind my back, planned the entire event, knowing it would be under my roof, and still humiliated me. Just for sport. The next day, I walked into the kitchen where she was wiping down counters. "Sabrina," I said coldly, "you lied." Her hands froze, she turned pale. "Rosalie, I saw the transfer. The one from months ago. You knew. You planned that wedding at my restaurant on purpose. You wanted to humiliate me. In my own home." Tears filled her eyes. At first, yes, I was bitter, jealous. Your success made me feel small. But then, when I saw how you handled it, how strong you'd become, I regretted everything. That's why I came back. Not to fake an apology, but to actually change. I stared at her for a long time. Then I said, "Finish your shift. After that, don't come back." Her lip trembled. "Please, just give me one more chance." "You already had your second chance," I replied. "And you used it to lie again." She didn't fight. She nodded slowly and walked out. That was the last time I saw her. But the story didn't end there. 6 months later, my restaurant group was nominated for a national award. My name was all over magazines, interviews, podcasts. The same people who once whispered behind my back were now calling me a visionary. And one evening, during a press event, a journalist asked me, "What would you say to the people who once called you a failure?" I smiled. "I'd say thank you. Because without them, I wouldn't have fought so hard to succeed in silence." Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's showing up in places they never thought you belonged. And that's exactly what I did. If this story shocked, inspired, or satisfied you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More real, emotional, and jaw-dropping stories coming your way.